The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes, until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He devised mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. All four verses are aimed at the son of perdition. The wicked is the wicked of Psalm chapter 10 verse 3 and chapter 12 verse 8. Practically, the transgression of the wicked demonstrates something. It reveals something. It's so clear that it speaks. It says, I don't fear God. The transgression is described so that no thorny textual problems could possibly arise. The transgression is flattery and self-love. Look at verse 2. For he flattered himself. To what extent? To the extent that he magnifies himself above every god. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4 and Daniel chapter 11 verses 37 to 38. A man who feared God wouldn't think of such a thing. So the transgression calls for a heart reaction from those who observe it. It says there is no fear of God before his eyes. Job says he is made without fear. Job chapter 41 verse 33. The characteristic of a man who doesn't fear God follow. He loves himself, verse 2, till people despise him. His speech is deceitful, verse 3. He quits doing right and thinks up ways to sin, verse 4. And he loves sin and those who commit it, verse 4. See Romans chapter 1, verse 32. We learn that a sinner transgresses because of lack of fear. We learn that often the heart gives a correct analysis while the head education gives a false one. Nothing is more revolting to human nature than a display of human nature in another human. Verse 2. A man who doesn't hate and fear, verse 1 and 4, is a bad man. A good man must hate evil and fear God. A bad man loves evil and fears man. Thy mercy, O Lord, is in the heavens, and thy faithfulness reacheth unto the clouds. Thy righteousness is like the great mountains, thy judgment are a great deep. O Lord, thou preservest man and beast. How excellent is thy loving kindness, O God! Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. For with thee is the fountain of life, in thy light shall we see light. There is a sudden reverse in the narrative at verse 6. God's mercy is revealed in the heavens. See Psalm 19. And his judgments are like a great deep, in that they are unsearchable and can be dark and terrible and destructive. They are impossible to control, and when turned loose on the earth, Genesis chapter 6 verse 17, they purify all corruption. Thou preservest man and beast by getting them into an ark. Genesis chapter 6 verse 19. In the original creation, God had a game preserve set up. Genesis chapter 1 verse 30. Where neither man killed man nor beast killed beast, and neither man killed beast nor beast killed man. How excellent is thy loving kindness is especially true in Exodus chapter 34 verse 6 and Ephesians chapter 2 verses 4 to 7. Under the shadow of thy wings is the right place to be, according to Matthew chapter 23 verse 37. Verses 8 and 9 are millennial verses, and although we can spiritualize verse 9, still the context is the light of Isaiah chapter 2 verse 5, chapter 30 verse 26, chapter 58, verse 8, chapter 60, verses 1 to 3. One man, Ponce de Leon, tried to find the fountain of youth, but what he needed was the fountain of life. Youth will pass, life is eternal. The river of thy pleasures in this age comes from a fountain not found on this earth. In the millennium it will see Ezekiel chapter 47 verse 2. One cannot even see light till one has light. John chapter 1 verse 9. All lights come from the light of the world. O continue thy loving kindness unto them that know thee, and thy righteousness to the upright in heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked remove me. There are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down and shall not be able to rise. The closing verses are doctrinally enigmatical, although the devotional matter in them is clear. Devotionally, a saint can pray verses 10 and 11, but he cannot claim that he has God's righteousness as long as he is upright in heart, as an Old Testament saint could. A Christian has God's righteousness from here to the white throne. The foot of pride and the hand of the wicked are directly referring to the son of perdition just mentioned in verses 1 to 3. So the upright in heart are dispensationally those about to enter the millennium. See verses 8 and 9. There are the workers of iniquity fallen. There will have to be the there of Psalm chapter 76 verse 3. There break he the arrows of the bow, the shield and the sword and the battle. The context is Zion in Jerusalem, verses 1 and 2. This lines up with Haggai chapter 2 verse 9. Not one commentator among Spurgeon's 50 helpers, the treasury of David, nor one Hebrew scholar listed in the cross-reference Bible could find a scriptural interpretation. This shows once again, that the authorized version starting 1611 is able to correct any 100 Bible correctors at will. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 12 and 13. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the divine asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do.